Dear God, I just want to thank you so much for who you are. Lord, as we finish this Strangest Things series, Lord, would you help these students in the midst of all the crazy stuff they've learned, all the maybe exciting but confusing, but can be scary, Lord, would you just help them realize in the midst of all this, we have hope in you, God, that you're the one that is control, and in the end, you're the one who wins. And so, Lord, thank you for that hope we have. We love you in your name. Amen. Hey, I still remember the first time I stood before a judge. You see, I was in college. I was 18, 19, and I was working in youth ministry, or at least was either an intern or something like that. And a family came to me that had kids in the youth group and said, hey, we're going on a trip. Will you house sit at our house? Now, house sitting's sweet when you're in college because I lived at home. I didn't have my own place. And when you house sit, you have your own place. Okay, they normally stock the refrigerator for you with tons of food, and especially the freezer. And it's also sweet because they pay you to it. You're like, are you joking? You're going to give me a place, food, and money. That's amazing, right? Now, they said, but hey, we have 2 dogs. And I was like, okay, I'm not a dog lover, but I'm not a dog hater, okay? Just somewhere in the middle. So I'm like, okay, no big problem. So they're like, we want you to come check out the house first, get to know the dogs so you're ready. It's like, okay. So I show up a couple days before to kind of do a walkthrough. And when I walk outside, I immediately notice something is weird. You see, there is one of those like laundry lines or something like that goes diagonally across the whole entire backyard, and it's a big backyard. And I noticed dangling from it is a leash with a dog on it. And I'm like, okay. And I look back and she says, oh yeah, these are 2 dogs, okay? They're brother and sister. But the brother, he's an escape artist. And if he is off that thing too long, he can jump any fence. And I'm like, but those are like 6, 7 foot fences. Like, yeah, I don't know how he does it, but he will escape. So we have to have him on this leash thing that he can still run around. Now, we aren't too inhumane. Twice a day, we take him off and let him run around for 15, 20 minutes. But that's the longest he can take because then he tries to escape. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So they said, yeah, in the morning when you wake up, have breakfast, let him off for a little while. Make sure you keep an eye on him. But hey, if you need to go do something, that's fine. But just kind of keep an eye on him once in a while. And then after about 15 minutes, you just put him back on. I'm like, okay. So the first morning, I get up in the morning, and I'm making myself breakfast, getting ready I was in calls that time. I would do calls, and I'd go to school, to work in the afternoon. So, I'm getting ready, everything going set. I let him off the leash for 15 minutes. It's a great day. Like, everything was perfect. I made my meal, and he was fine. So the next day, I was like, oh, I got this. Well, I woke up a little late. I'm rushing. When you're rushing, sometimes you're not thinking. So I got up, and I'm like, I only have so much time. So I let him off the leash. They're playing. I go up and take a shower quick. 3-minute shower. Hurry and dry off. I come down. He's gone. Like, I think I was gone maybe 7 minutes. They said I had 15 minutes. He's gone. Okay? So I'm freaking out. I have school I'm going to be late to. I still have a huge meeting that's an hour later, and I'm freaking out. So I go and I get the dog's sister, and we walk around for a half an hour. I'm late for school. I'm probably not going to make it to this first class. Walking around trying to find this dog, okay? We cannot find the dog. And now I'm panicked, like, I got to wear that dog, but I got to be at this meeting. I got to be at school and stuff. So I put the dog in the back, and I write this nice letter. Hi, my name's Travis. If you find my dog, because the dog has a collar, and people know this dog escapes a lot, so we're assuming somebody's going to bring the dog. So I have this letter, has my phone number, all that, right? And so I go to school late, barely make it. Finally, I'm at work. It's been about an hour and a half, 2 hours, and I get a phone call. And it's a weird number. I'm like, I hope it's it. And I answer the phone. I'm like, hi, this is Travis. Like, yes, Travis, we have your dog at your house right now. I'm like, thank you so much. That's so awesome. I'll be right there right now. And he's like, by the way, this is the Humane Society. I'm like, okay, cool, thanks. I'm right there. I'm not thinking of it. So I jump in the car, and I rush to their house. I hop out, and there he is with the dog. He has a leash in it, and he's kind of like serious look. And my person, I'm like, hey, how's it going? Thank you so much. You don't know how much a lifesaver you are. Like, you saved my day. Thank you so much. And he's like, yes, sir, why was your dog off a leash? And I'm like, well, he jumped out of the backyard, but I'll take care of him. And he's like, sir, it's against the law for your dog to be off the leash. Here's a ticket for $250. To me, and I'm like, what just happened? Okay, I'm like, I was so excited. So I put the dog in there, and I'm like, crap, now I owe $250. What am I going to do? So the owners get home, and they feel so bad. They're like, Trav, if you fight this ticket, if you go stand for the judge, hey, if you lose, don't worry, we'll pay it. But if you win, no one has to pay anything. And I'm like, okay. So I had to go stand before the judge. I still remember I'm standing, getting in the room, and there is the Humane Society guy. I was hoping he wasn't there. If he didn't show up, we win, right? But nope, he shows up. And in fact, before my court case, while I'm in the room, he has to fight another person who also was taken to court. So he gets up, he tells his side, and the other guy, I find out the story's pretty similar. And the other guy, as they're talking, he's getting mad. He's upset because he's like, this stupid humane guy, then he does this and this, and he's getting upset. Now he's getting angry. Now the judge is trying to calm him down. Now he's getting even more angry. Now he's like cussing out the Humane Society guy. You're watching this like, this is insane. And now the judge is upset. Like, he is so furious that he loses it. He's like, that's it. This is contempt. That's it. You're paying double. Guards, come right now. Take him right now. He needs to cool down, and all this crazy scene. And it's like, and now I have to go. And he's like, now where's Travis Seibert? And I'm like, right here, And so I have to get up there. I'm freaking out. And so again, the humane guy tells his side of the story. And now it's my turn. And the judge, he's like, he's not happy anymore. It's like, he seemed like a good mood like 30 minutes ago. And he's like, all right, Travis, tell your side. I'm like, oh. So I start telling my story. It's a pretty crazy, intense story. I'm telling every little detail because that's what I'm supposed to do, no lying, right? And I'm telling the story, and I said, and that's my story. And you can tell the Humane Society guy's like it's, whatever, I don't know, like he was making these body languages. And the judge looks at him, he goes, Travis, that sucks. Man, poor you. That had to be like the worst day ever. I'm like, heck yeah, it was. He's like, you know what? I feel so bad for you. Just pay the $10 court fee and you're good to go. And I went over like, woohoo, like I won the court case. It's supposed to be $250, paid $10. It was like amazing. My one day in court, I won. I think I have a look that you just feel bad for, and there's like, I just feel bad for that guy, you know what I mean? But hey, it worked out. And my first time ever standing before the judge, I got out. Well, listen, we are continuing our series called, or actually say continuing, we're ending our Strangest Things series, where we took a look at Revelation and the end times. And we started looking at all the crazy things that are happening. We started talking about the rapture, details about that, when it was going to be, what it could look like. We talked about the tribulation and just the crazy 7-year period and the different seals that are going to be opened and the trumpets and the bowls and all the crazy things that are going to happen that we aren't sure on the details, but we know there's things that are going to be crazy that's going to happen. We talked about the Antichrist, what he might look like, what his job is he's going to come and he's going to try and rule, deceive, and make people bow down to him and worship him. And then we also talked about the Battle of Armageddon, the last battle where eventually Taylor talked about how Jesus is going to finally come and save the day. When all hope is lost, he's going to come and save the day, and with him, he's going to have his army. And who's his army? Us as Christians. Remember, if we talked about that we're going to be raptured up and we'll be right there on his tail following him in. And we come to a period, and he kind of alluded to the part of, then he's going to sit on his throne. And when he sits on his throne, he is going to rule for 1,000 years, called the millennium, which there will be peace on earth. It'll be like how he designed it when he developed the garden. When he put Adam in the garden, he said, this is how it's supposed to be, and it will be like that again, where there will be peace, where it will be amazing. And you talk about this time, but there's something else we haven't talked about. And it's the last thing we're talking about today. You see, not only will there be a millennium, but eventually there will also be something called a judgment day. You see, it's going to be a day where the world is judged and everyone in it is judged. In fact, if you have your Bibles, it's found in Matthew chapter 25. It's Jesus talking. Matthew's the first book of the New Testament. You got Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. It's called the Four Gospels. And they're about Jesus' life here on earth. The Son of God. God came to earth as a man. These are his stories. And he is talking in my Bible. It's in red. It's found in Matthew 25, verse 31. And I'm only going to read a little part of it. If you want to continue reading it later on your own, that is great. But it starts in 31. It says, the sheep and the goats. That's what my heading says. And it says, when the Son of Man comes in his glory and all the angels with him, he'll sit on his throne in heavenly glory. Remember I told you, Taylor said he's going to come down in his glory and he's going to save the day and he'll sit on the throne for a millennium. So he's talking, Jesus saying, hey, when I return in my glory, right now I'm not. I'm dying on the cross. I'm not what people thought. People thought the Messiah was going to do this immediately. He's like, no, eventually I'm going to do that. Right now I'm going to save the world through dying on the cross. But when I come back and save them again this time, All the nations will gather before him, and he will separate the people one from another as a shepherd separates the sheep from the goats. And he'll put the sheep on his right and the goats on their left. And the king will say to those, and he will start judging them. Listen, here's the thing you need to understand that we're going to talk about today is everyone is going to get judged. Every one of us are going to be judged someday. You need to understand that. And my hope is today as I start going through this, we're going to find out, hey, are you ready? Are you ready for this? You see, there are 4 judgments that are going to happen in the end times. And the most of them are found in Revelation. Actually, 3 of the 4 are found in Revelation. And we're going to go there in a minute. And the first one is this. The first judgment that will take place is called the judgment of the Antichrist and his false prophet. Judgment of the Antichrist and his false prophet. You see, it's found in Revelation 19 through 21, okay? And it's pretty cool. It says here, this is John talking, it says, "Then I saw the beast is the Antichrist, and the kings of the earth, and their armies gathered together to wage war against the riders on the horse and his army." The riders on his horse is supposed to be Jesus, okay? "But the beast was captured, and with it the false prophet who had performed the signs on its behalf. With these signs, he had deluded those who had received the mark of the beast and worshiped its images. The 2 of them were thrown alive in the fiery lake of burning sulfur." The first judgment that's going to take place is when Jesus comes down and saves the day. It makes it seem like pretty quickly he's going to judge them. Boom, throw them in the lake of fire. And that'll be their destiny, I guess you say. That'll be their end, is they will be thrown in to the lake of fire. Now, there's a second judgment. It's called the judgment of Satan and his demons. Now, this one's interesting. Remember the first one I said, it seems like it paints a picture that pretty quickly when he saves the day, he's going to do that. They're going to be thrown in the lake of fire. This one's weird. See, if you read chapter 20 of Revelation in the beginning, it talks about that Satan will be bound for 1,000 years. I'm sorry, I moved this and it was a little louder, wasn't it? Satan will be bound actually for 1,000, which is weird. So during that millennium, he's going to put Satan, lock him up and bound him up, but he's not going to punish him yet. Is that weird? I guess it's punishment that he's bound. So he'll be bound for 1,000 years. And then it says right here, this is crazy. It comes straight out of Revelation. It says in Revelation 27, it said, "When the 1,000 years are over, Satan will be released from his prison and will go out to deceive the nations in the 4 corners of the earth, Gog and Magog, and gather them for battle. In numbers, they will be like the sand on the seashore. They marched across the breadth of the earth and surrounded the camp of God's people, the city he loves, Jerusalem." Now, this is weird. If you're reading this here this time, you're like, okay, Trav, did I read that right? It says that he's going to release Satan and his demons. Satan's going to get a chance to go now and deceive people around the whole earth. Now, I'm like, okay, this is weird. So that is implying that there's going to be people living on the earth. Now, I'm a little confused because we don't know all that's happening, but we know this, that remember, those that are Christians have said we will be raptured up and we will be meeting Christ in the sky. So we will be in our new heavenly bodies. And it talks about how we will rule. We will help Jesus rule the earth. So that means there's going to be people left. I don't know if there are people that are left after the tribulation that did not die, so they survived and now they're having kids, whatever that is. But Satan's going to have a chance to go and deceive them. It says he's going to deceive so many, and he's going to get so many to fall that it'll be as much as sand on the seashores, and they will actually come to the city of Jerusalem, the new city where all God's people are, ready to wage war and wipe them out, which will probably be us. It's like, you're like, okay, God, I thought you already won. What the heck happens? But check this out. The next verse, okay? The very next verse it says this: "But fire came down from heaven and devoured them all." So what happened is, they're all outside the city like, let's get them. And Jesus on his throne, chilling with all of us. And it says that just like with a snap of a finger, fire just comes, destroys them all. Like no battle at all. It's like no battle, just destroys everyone. Is that crazy? I'm like, I can't wait to be there. We're going to get to see it firsthand. We're going to be chilling out there like, yeah, come on closer. You know what I mean? It's just going to be amazing. Okay? And it says right here, "And the devil who deceived them was thrown into the lake of burning sulfur, where the beast and the false prophet have been thrown, and they'll be tormented day and night forever and ever. The second judgment is going to be the judgment of Satan and his demons, where they will finally be thrown in the lake of fire. Now, we're going to switch to number 4. Don't go to number 3 yet. We're going to go to number 4 on your note sheets, because I should have done it in the other order, but it was too late. But I want to talk about the next judgment is called the Great White Throne Judgment. The Great White Throne Judgment. You see, it's found in Revelation 20, 11 through 15, and it talks about everyone else who's not found in the book of life, which is non-believers, will stand before Christ in the Great White Throne Judgment. And it says they will be judged for everything they did. There's a verse in Ecclesiastes 12:14 that says, God will bring every deed into judgment, including every hidden thing, whether it is good or evil. It talks about they're going to be judged in Revelation, but every hidden thing will be exposed. It says in Romans 2:16, this will take place on the day when God judges people's secrets through Jesus Christ. He's going to judge their secret thoughts, their hidden things. Here's what's going to happen on the day of the Great White Throne Judgment. If you are not a Christian, you'll stand before Christ, and you alone will stand before him. And I don't know how it's going to work. I don't know if it's going to be like a movie projector of your whole life's going to go in front of you. I don't know if because it's God, he can design whatever he wants. Maybe it's like there'll be a video that just goes through your mind and he'll go through it with you. I don't know, okay? But he is going to reveal every sin in your life. I want you to know something. I don't want people to know every sin in my life. And he said, even the secret ones. And I believe this. The Bible's not clear on it. But I believe when you are done standing before him, if you are not found in the book of life, and he goes through every sin in your life, I believe when it's all said and done, you're going to look at him and go, you're not going to go, but God, I was better than the other person. No, you're going to look at him and go, God, I deserve whatever you're going to give me. Because the sin's going to be that much that will be exposed. And he's going to say, guess what? Get away from me. And he's going to throw you in the lake of fire. Great White Throne Judgment. Now, there's one more judgment. It's number 3 on your list. If you go back, it is called the Judgment Seat of Christ. It's called the Judgment Seat of Christ. It is the one where it'll be the judgment of all believers. Guess what? If you're a believer, you're going to stand before God one day. You will, just like the non-Christian. We will all have our day in court, all have our day before the judge, which is Jesus Christ, and we will stand before him. But here's what's awesome is, when we stand before him, he's not going to see our sin. We're not going to go through all of our sin. Do you know why? Because when you stand before him, he's going to say, I don't see your sin. Because guess what? When I died on that cross for you, my blood covered over all your sin. See, the Bible's clear that our sin, if we accept Jesus Christ in our life, and we say, Jesus, you want to be Lord of my life, I want to accept that free gift. It says, okay, all the sin's covered. It's taken care of. It's paid for. We will not be judged on our sin. And Jesus will look at you and go, hey, don't worry, I took care of it. It was all taken care of because you chose to follow me. But then he's going to say, but I do want to judge you on what you've done for me. See, everyone else, they're going to get judged for what they've done. They're good and bad. You're going to get judged on what you've done for me. It's found in 1 Corinthians 3:10 through 15. I'm just going to use a little part. It says that by the grace given, God has given me, I laid a foundation as a wise builder, and someone else is building on it. But each one should build with care, for no one can lay any foundation other than the one already laid, which is Jesus Christ. He's saying, if you accept Jesus Christ in your life, your foundation is Jesus Christ. We have a foundation. And he said, now as we're going through life, we can build on that foundation. Excuse me. And the way we build on that foundation is by what we do for God. How we live our life for him. It's not necessarily going to church. It's not necessarily being a nice person. It's what we do for him. How do we use the gifts, the abilities God has given us to be a light to the kingdom, to bring others to Christ, to tell others of people, to be different. And he said, you're going to build on that foundation. And it says right here, it says, if anyone builds on this foundation using gold, silver, costly stones, wood, hay, or straw, their work will be shown for what it is, because the day will bring light to it. So he said, you're going to build this foundation. There's the things you do, and some are going to be gold, stones, silver, but some will be hay and wood, which hand wood, we're going to find out, isn't necessarily a good thing, okay? And it will be revealed with fire, and the fire will test the quality of each person's work. Everything that we have is going to go like through this fire. Now, it's an analogy, but it's almost like there's some things that we do that are worthless, and there's some things we do that are worth gold and silver. And it's going to go through this fire. And I love how, or it's crazy how he says this. It says, if what has been built survives, the builder will receive a reward. So your life, the things that you did for God that were worthwhile, that'll be a reward to you. But the things that you did for God that were worthless will get burned up, and there won't be anything worth it for it there. And it says, if it is burned up, the builder will suffer loss, but yet will be saved, even though as only one escaped the flames. So he's saying, guess what? There are going to be some people that are going to heaven, and he's going to go, what have you done for me? And you're going to build this case, and he's going to go, everything you did for me was worthless. But hey, you're lucky you at least get into heaven because my blood already paid for you. And some of us, he's going to go, look what you did for me. Look what you did over there. That person's in heaven because you, remember when you went against the flow over there? Remember when you did this? Remember when you did this? And he said, because of that, I want you to know I'm so proud of you. Here's some jewels. Here's some crowns. Here's a better whatever. Welcome to my kingdom. You see, we're all going to stand before God, and I'm willing to bet every single one of us are still going to have times where like, God, you gave me that. I could have totally done something good with that. I didn't even realize that. And sometimes he's going to go, but remember when I gave you that? You know what you did with it? And you were like, that was amazing. I'm so proud of you. But we're going to stand one day before God and be judged. That's why it says in Matthew 6:19, do not store up treasures for yourself here on earth, but store up treasures in heaven. Our goal in life should be, now that we are Christians, how are we storing treasures in heaven? 4 judgments that are going to take place. Now that we know that there's going to be 4 judgments, what do we do with that? What do we do with the 4 judgments? Well, first thing you understand is you will be judged. Question that needs to be asked is this: are you ready? We're all going to be judged, but you're going to be judged. Are you ready? And I ask that question for 2 reasons. One, are you ready? Meaning, are you going to be at the judgment seat of Christ, or are you going to be at the great white throne judgment? Are you ready? Because if you're not going to be found in the book of life, you need to hurry up and get found in the book of life. And if you need to talk to someone, go, Trav, what does that mean? You said it, Jesus Christ. You said Jesus Christ died on the cross for my sins. You said I just have to say His Lord and Savior. Yes. But if you want to know more questions, get more questions answered to find out really what that means, we have leaders. We actually have 15, 16 leaders in the room that are scattered all over the place that would love to talk to you more about it. But the second part, are you ready, is what are you storing up? Are you storing up treasures in heaven, or are you storing up stuff that's just going to get burned up? And when you stand before God, God's going to say, hey, you did nothing for me, but luckily you get in. Or is He going to give you a hug and say, I'm so stinking proud of you for what you did while you were on this earth. Thank you so much. Are you ready? Second thing we can learn through this is that means if everyone's going to be judged, that means your friends will be judged. Your friends are going to get judged. What are you going to do about that? That's the question. What are you about? Because you know what? Do you know if your friends are going to be at the great white throne judgment, or are they going to be at the judgment seat of Christ? There are people around you that you might not realize. You don't look at them as someone as, oh, crud, they're going to stand before God a different way, and I don't want them to be there. What are you doing? Now, initially, we get scared. We get nervous, like, well, I don't know what to tell them. I don't want to offend them. I don't want to argue with them. I didn't say any of that. I guess I'd say this: are you different? Are you different? I know my son Jonathan, he's in this youth group. He's not here this service, but I know that he's different at school. How do I know? Because kids have told me. My son comes home one day and says, Trav, everyone cusses. Or not Trav, he says Dad, okay? He says, Dad, everyone cusses at school. In fact, I had to leave one of my really good friends because he wouldn't stop cussing, and his friend said, well, good luck finding someone that doesn't cuss. Because he wants to be different. And it's not only the cussing thing, it's how he lives his life. Are we living a life where we're so different, people want to ask questions? Why are you so different? I want to have what you have. That could be a start. Are you the light that God talks about where like you just shine where people just want that? There's another aspect to it is do you ever invite them to church? Like it's easier to invite someone to church than to say, are you a Christian? I want to save you. But it's easier to invite someone. Hey, why don't you come see with me? Hey, what is that church thing you do? I don't know if I can explain it very well. Just come and check it out with me. Just come and see. Maybe you'll learn more too. Let's talk about it. Boom. Are you opportunistic when situations go? Because guess what? You're going to go through life, and there's going to be times where friends cry out to you. There's going to be times where friends are having a bad day. How do you talk to them through that? Hey, I know you're having a bad day, but you know something? I have a God that he can fix that problem. I have a God who promises that he can make you new. Do we have the courage to do that? What are you doing for your friends? And the last thing, if everyone's going to be judged, is one thing that else is neat to point out, or it could be crazy, is that means that all evil will be judged. That means that all evil will be judged. Isn't that neat to hear? All evil will be judged. So here's my question. Are you willing to let God bring justice? See, here's the thing is, we ask questions all the time. God, why would you allow that to happen? I mean, let's just be honest. A few weeks ago, in Las Vegas with the shooter. How many of you were the same place as me going, God, why would you allow this to happen? Why would you let this madman do this? And you need to understand, we know the answer because God allows free will. And because of free will, people have the free will to do whatever they want. But here's the cool hope to know is this, is that eventually all evil is going to get judged. Guess what? That person's going to be judged. The rest of the world, there are evil things that happen every day. There are disgusting, sick things that happen in this world. That it's crazy to think they happen, but they're all going to be judged someday. So let God bring the justice. Are you willing to let him, or do you feel like it has to be you? In fact, it almost gives me a little relief to know it doesn't have to be me, because God's going to judge them one day. We know where their destiny is. They're going to be thrown in the lake of fire. 4 judgments. We're all going to be judged. Question is, are you ready? Which one will you be in? The whole series, The Strangest Things, listen, there are going to be some strange things that are going to happen in the future. But the cool part is this. We know we don't have to worry because in the end, we know we win. We know that God wins, and if we're on his side, we're the ones coming back at the end, coming out with him in God's army to kick butt and save the day. Are you ready? That's my challenge. Are you ready? Let's go ahead and pray. Dear God, I just want to thank you so much for who you are. You're an amazing God. And Lord, I just know that there's some crazy stuff, some really strange things we talked about in this series, some scary things. Lord, may we realize that no matter how scary it might have been, how unclear or crazy it could have been, that we know in the midst of it we have hope because we know that you win. And we can rest and have peace in that. That one day there's going to be peace on this earth, Lord. But Lord, are we ready? May you judge our hearts now. And may we start to think through, are we ready when that day comes? We love you in your name. Amen.